Welcome to the CWC Podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
All right, Happy New Year, and welcome to the CWC Podcast, the home for the latest news, rumors, and interviews around the sport of chuckwagon racing. I'm your host, David Selby, and I am joined by my co-hosts, Justin Reed and Andy Horton. What's up, guys?
Yo.
How's it going?
Oh, man, it's good. How was your Christmas?
Mine was good. It was busy, very busy.
Yeah. Did you stay in town? Did you leave? Did you travel? What'd you do?
No, I stayed in town and I worked every day except 2 hours on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got kind of like the worst version of it being in the middle of the week.
Right. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah, Wednesday, Christmas. It's like, I don't know. I guess it depends on how you look at it. It could be really good or it could be really bad. Like for me, it ended up just making the whole week Christmas. Like that was it. There's nothing else getting done.
For me, it was like a 2-second break in a long week.
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks, man. But I know that you've been busy with work. Andy, what was your week like last week?
Well, I spent most of it sick, so there was that. But I mean, other than that, thankfully at the same time, it was kind of a much needed break because I have like almost no respect for my own time or anything. So I just kind of worked straight through the entire year. And if you do that long enough, I think something's got to give at some point. And so, you either pick a time to take a break or your body's going to pick it for you. And so it happened to kind of line up that way. But it was good. Like I said, much needed break. Got to slow down. This time of year, for me, slows down, and it's not really a bad thing that happens. So
yeah, I know. I can relate to that, being in that kind of same industry, I guess, with content creation and all that, photo, video. Everybody else kind of helplessly slows down, and they just kind of go into their holes and enjoy the holidays and the cold season, and it kind of forces us to slow down a little bit too. But Christmas week was good over here. We celebrated. Miranda's parents came, which they go by Mimi and Papa, to our 2 children, and they were here. Miranda's sister and her boyfriend was here, and we just had Christmas at home, and it was great. It was pretty relaxing for the most part. We had seafood. I guess that's kind of something that Miranda's family's always done that on Christmas, and so we had like crab legs and stuff like that. Everybody kind of pitches in and gets something, and so we feasted and did presents, did the whole thing. Santa came, and it was good. We went and drove around the trail of lights around our little park lake nearby, and just did it like Christmas, And so it was good, and just did not get a lot of work done that week. Just did not. So sorry about you. That's how it is though. And we made memories. It was good. On today's show, we're kicking off the 2025 year with the first ever CWC Awards Show. We have reviewed your nominations, we have deliberated, and we are going to award individuals from within the chuckwagon racing community with some much deserved recognition. But first, we're going to talk about our New Year's resolutions, hit you with some news and notes from around the chuckwagon racing world. So stick around, it's all coming up. You were talking about how your body just kind of like gives out a little bit every once in a while when you just keep going too hard. I was thinking about that, and your body literally, like, not just the sickness thing, but like we were down there at Clinton for the Christmas show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And Andy like opens a door to carry some stuff in, and he's like, "Oh, I should shut that door behind me." And he reaches back to like close it, and his back like goes out. And
like in a big way. Yeah.
And I could just see it on his face. He was like, "Oh man, my day just got a lot worse." And then that spiraled, because from there, you said when you got home, you were feeling sick already and stuff. So sometimes it's like a lot, it can just kind of snowball on you with stuff like that. One thing goes, you knock out one leg and then another leg goes out and you're just like down and out.
That's exactly how that went too. I mean, I'm still like, up until like a day ago, I was still sore from that. I mean, it was, I don't know what happened, but that was not fun at all. It was not a fun drive home.
Yeah, man, I totally feel you. I've been there. I've been there at a Chuckwagon racing event.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible. It's a terrible thing when you have to do that long drive home and you're like uncomfortable the whole time.
Yeah.
Gosh, and actually that's happened to me twice this last year because it was my back on
Your
West
knee
Kentucky.
at one. Yeah.
And it was my knee at the national championships. I just
hobble along.
Oh man, I was very uncomfortable driving home with my knee, because I'm 6'5", so like I want my leg to be straight when my knee is all swollen, and I'm getting into my truck, and I'm like all the way against the back of my seat, like pushed back all the way. Just that was not a fun drive home, but yeah, that's part of getting older, I guess, is knowing when to and how to take care of your body. So today is our awards show, but don't forget the annual year-end Arkansas Chuckwagon Racing Association banquet is being held in Benton, Arkansas on January 25th. I will definitely be there. I've already booked my room. Justin, you're going to be there, right?
Plan to be, as long as work doesn't interfere.
Yep. Andy, the invitation is out there. I know it's another long drive for you, but
right.
Feel free to crash at my place because it's going to be a good time. We're gonna have a lot of fun at the awards banquet. Last year, it's just a good time, man. I don't want to spill all the beans, but
they party hardy,
but but they go hard.
They do.
It's a good time. So stick around. In other news here, a little bit of content coming to the Chuckwagon channel soon. We've finally got the Baker Spain races just about wrapped up as far as like all the day races and stuff, and those will be on the channel this next week. Speaking of the channel, get over there and subscribe if you haven't. Subscribe, relive the ride, chuckwagonchannel.com. It's $11 a month or $99 a year. We had Dapple and Danny Newland on the show for our Christmas show 2 weeks ago. I just thought that was so fun. That was so good. And Justin, by the way, I apologize that we did not even bring you up in that show. The start of that show should have gone like, hey, here's Andy and Dapple, and we don't have Justin today because this, and sure enough, like right as we're pulling the trigger to start, Danny Newland walks in. And so it was a little bit disruptive the way that happened. It was not how I planned, even though I did plan on Danny being there. I told him to come.
Right.
But he got there earlier than I thought he was going to get there. And so I was like, we got to roll with this. Let's go. And I never explained that Justin was in fact not able to make it because he was working and he did not have the option to be there that day. And so that was my bad.
So did Dapple know that Danny was coming?
No, it was
totally. So the only one who knew anything was you. Okay.
Yeah. That was part of what I was trying to kind of be spontaneous there. And
I mean, he sends me show notes and everything, and Danny's not on them.
No, he wasn't on there.
There's nothing there. And then Danny just walks in, and I'm like, what is happening right now?
Andy, I don't know why you're surprised. David springs stuff on us all the time.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, I try to keep it exciting. All right.
You keep us on our toes, that's for sure.
Yeah, I thought it would have been fun if he would have walked in a little bit later in, just because
you'd have been going, and
it would have been funny, but that's okay. I mean, it all worked out, and that's gotta love podcast format.
I know that David wants us to be more engaged, and he definitely wants me to be more engaged, but I'm about as engaged as a grasshopper on a windshield at this point.
Just hanging on for dear
I'm just
life.
Hanging on, seeing what comes around the corner next. So
That's right.
It's all right. You know what? You should be an honorable mention in the most improved award, Andy, because you've come a long way this year, and And I think we should all be patting ourselves on our backs because, you learn a lot doing, what is this, 28? This is our 28th episode. You learn quite a bit, and um, it's fun. It's fun, and it requires some real time. You don't just, well, you can just hop on. We've done that,
Yeah.
but
Not
that's
me.
not typically how we do it. There's going to be some preparation involved, and there's definitely some post production involved. With Justin has done a lot of that editing to get these up on the internet timely every week. It's it takes a little time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, another great piece of news to share if you don't already know, which if you're on social media, you probably know. But this week, right now, we've got the Cowboy Channel debuting season 1 of the Great Wagon Race, and that's going out each night at 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Gerald and Nova Burkhalter. That means it's an hour later for you in Indiana. And you can see each of those 7 episodes across 6 nights. So Saturday will round out episode 6 and 7 as an hour-long season finale, and it's 30 minutes earlier, so 6 p.m. Standard Time, Central Standard Time. And so check that out. And I also posted like a programming schedule on our Facebook page. So if you want to see like when they're re-airing some of these episodes like later at night or even another day, you can see that. That's what they've given me so far as far as like when they're airing our episodes. And you can see in bold when they debut. And then if they're not in bold, that's like they're showing it again. You also should be able, depending on what platform you're on, if you have like Dish or if you have DirecTV or whatever, there should be some on-demand options there too, video on demand. And so you may be able to go in and like watch it on demand. Or I know if you have Cowboy Channel Plus, their subscription service that you can just go like on a web browser and log in or get on your phone and get the app. You can watch it there on demand as well, but the on demand doesn't come out until like midnight after each episode airs.
Okay.
So, or
Have
you
you-
can just go to the Chuckwagon channel and watch all of it. So there you go.
Have you heard anything back from the Cowboy Channel yet? Maybe on how it's going, or
No, and I guess full disclosure, we're recording on Wednesday, so they've only shown Monday and Tuesday, episode 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and I think right now it's still just like they're just getting like it was pretty last second the way we had everything come together. Like literally yesterday, I got the rest of the videos to them because it all just kind of came together last second. And excuse me, and I was really excited about that because like I want to get it out there,
Yeah.
especially during the holidays when people are kind of like hanging out and they're just kind of catching what's coming on. They're going to sit and just watch TV or binge watch. And what we hope that we get out of this, well, several things. We hope that we get some feedback from them and they talk about, the success of the ratings or whatever. I don't know how. I have never worked
Yeah.
really exclusively in live broadcast television or like TV programming for cable. I know very little about that. I know a little bit more now because they need specific video formats that kind of wreck your footage a little bit, and so it doesn't look as clean as it would look if you watched it on the Chuckwagon channel. But they do, they need it to be a certain way. And so I had to go and deliver that with like gaps cut in for commercial breaks and stuff like that. So that was kind of interesting seeing how they needed all of that. But
I wondered about that. I kind of wondered how you had to reformat or how you had to chop it up, or, did you have to
Yeah.
leave anything out, or,
No, because of everything, all the episodes being less than 30 minutes, it was able to work because they need it to be less than 30 minutes so they can, make it a 30-minute broadcast. And then on the final one, because our 7th episode is like 36 minutes and I didn't want to cut anything out, I was like, hey, how about that one plus like the 20 or 21 minutes 6th episode to go with episode 7, and we can get it into an hour. And I made just a couple of small cuts in there, so it's like 55.5 minutes of footage. So you're not going to get a lot of commercial. You're not going to get very long commercial breaks on the season finale. So don't miss that on Saturday. You'll be like, hey, that was the shortest piss break I ever had during something that was on TV, because we didn't leave any room. So, I hope that we get some feedback from them, though, because, we want to hear that people see it and like it and want more of it.
Yeah.
But for all I know, we may not have any access to that information. So, stay tuned. Hopefully there's more news coming from all of that. Hopefully it opens some doors for Chuckwagon racing, period. And hopefully it gets the sport more exposure.
Yeah.
And that's it makes marketing each of the individual events easier, because people are like, oh, I saw Chuckwagon racing on Cowboy Channel. I want to go see that one that's an hour away from me now. Or whatever.
So instead of us having 20,000 people, we'll have 60,000 people.
Yeah. Sorry about you. Sorry, there's no room. Had to turn some horses away this year. Okay, so tune in on Cowboy Channel. See that stuff going on this week, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Season 2 of the Great Wagon Race. We are days away from putting out a release schedule for the episodes for that. We will have episodes coming out exclusively on the Chuckwagon channel, not to be confused with the Cowboy channel. They will not have season 2 in the immediate future. You will only be able to see it on the Chuckwagon channel. That is for our subscribers only. Please go and subscribe and take that content in. We're really excited about that buckboard focused season 2 and excited to build on that. I'm already excited for season 3, but those will come out as weekly releases once we start putting them out there, and we'll make sure that you know about it. What are you laughing at?
He's laughing at me making faces because I haven't heard season 3 until this point. So this is my first time hearing that there is going to be a season 3.
Well, there'll be a season 25, Andy. Just give it time.
Yeah, but you got it, things are only made official when they're made official, right? I think it just happened right there.
And you heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
It's not like set in stone. We don't have anything on paper yet, really.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we do season 3. I think we will.
Okay.
I guess it depends on how things go with season 2. So we'll wait. I'll shut up. But
okay.
But I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Coming up here, we've got we need to get together again because it's like the new year and we need to really look at what we've got coming up. But I know for sure something that I've been wanting to do with this kind of slower time of the year is I wanted to kind of lay down some basics for people. I wanted to kind of get back to the basics of like the Chuckwagon racing rules and stuff, a little bit more Chuckwagon 101. I don't feel like everybody that just jumps online and sees a Chuckwagon podcast or a Chuckwagon video or whatever, that they really know what the heck's going on. So I kind of want to do an episode or a series of episodes where we really explain kind of the fundamental rules and the pieces of wagon racing. So that's coming up. I'm going to try to kick that off next week.
Just go section by section from the rule book.
Yeah, we're just going to read it straight off the rule book. From association and from Clinton, it would be a little different. And then whatever tweaks you got at the different outlaw races could get a little hairy, actually. Not
Clinton
totally sure.
will have to have Dapple on.
Yeah, I thought about
rules.
that. I would like to get a guest or two involved with that. I think it would be. I mean, I'd rather have somebody that knows the rules at a really high level to be able to kind of articulate those nuances that are, changing between not just, I guess between race tracks, but race divisions too.
Yeah. I mean, you could do either Brad or Keith.
Yeah.
Keith Westner.
Yeah, Keith would be good. Keith, calling you out.
Yep. Get your red yarn and your thumbtacks ready.
Hey, Keith, speaking of Keith, I'm going to call you out a little harder. Last time I tried to get in touch with Keith, he didn't respond to me. So, Keith, this is us calling you out publicly in front of your peers.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right. Get in touch with me, Keith. I tried multiple ways. I tried his Facebook, and I tried another way. I don't remember what it was. Might have been his wife. I don't All right, so we're going to get into the CWC Awards Show now. We had a long discussion about who we thought should win these things, in these different categories. A reminder: the different categories are Best Spill of the Year, the Entertainer of the Year, the Venue of the Year, the Interview of the Year, the Heartwarming Moment Award or the Moment of the Year Award, 2024's Most Improved, Biggest Laugh of the Year, and the Youth Award.
And when he says that we had a big discussion about it on what we think, that does not mean we picked them. That means we went over the nominations.
We went over the nominations, and I mean, yeah, no, we used our best discretion here. We kind of took all factors into account, and we'll explain that more as we go through them, I think. But yeah, Justin, do you want to do the honor of the first one?
Oh, Lord. All right. So the best spill of the year goes to the classic wreck at Clinton when the County Line Bunch's Outrider ran into the Rafter G Wagon, which, when they started the race, he went to get on his horse and, he made it around the barrel first, went to get on, had a hard time getting on and actually getting in the saddle. And then once he did, he was in a straight line and just T-boned right in the back of the wagon. That was quite a wreck. But we're going to give that one to Stan Grizzle, the driver of Rafter G.
Yep. Stan, our hearts go out to you, my friend. That was one of the ugliest wrecks we've ever seen. Definitely.
No doubt.
Danny Newland mentioned it there on the spot. That was one of the ugliest wrecks he's ever seen, something to that effect. And that was in the trailer for the Great Wagon Race Season 2. There was a moment from that. I mean, you talk about like everybody seeing it coming, like every camera there. I mean, I don't think anybody missed it. Like every camera was dialed in. We all saw it coming for, 50 feet or whatever.
Yeah.
We're like, he's going to turn. He's going to hit him. Yep. And it was like an explosion. It was just so bizarre. Like everybody's heart sank. Like you just felt it. Like it kind of felt like the day could just be ruined. And then lo and behold, everybody's okay. And everybody's, I mean, there were some minor injuries there, but wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stan didn't get away unscathed. I mean, he came out with a broken rib and a pretty good gash in his head, and so I mean, it's not like everybody just got up and was just totally fine.
But we are lucky that nothing more grave happened.
Absolutely, because it should have in that situation. It very well could have. And
a lot of respect for how they handle those situations, and really, nobody handles those situations better than Clinton. And they've been doing it for the longest, but man, everybody's got to have their stuff together in a moment like that. And thank goodness everybody was okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
A couple honorable mentions on the best spill of the year. Dante Reed from Whiskey Ridge. That
was a spill.
That was another one of those that, oh man, you talk about some ugly stuff happening. I mean, there were several big ones this year, and so they're not all going to be in here, but that was an honorable mention. Went down during the big mule race, had a long road to recovery, but he is back in the saddle, as they say.
Well, and the fact of this being his first year racing, that plays a bigger picture in it, and the fact that he's ready to get up and continue on his career journey as a trainer, and that's awesome.
Yes. Another honorable mention. Just wanted to throw Nova Burkhalter in here. She had an ugly spill. It was not fun to see, but almost as if it was part of that wreck in another wreck that same day. It was like this little series of wrecks that happened, all like in this little cluster at the B&B Chuckwagon races. Shortly after, another team of ponies toss their drivers out, and it was a B&B team, and then those ponies go all the way across the field, and they find Gerald Burkhalter's truck. This is what I believe to be true anyways. And they don't, I mean, like most of the time horses or ponies, they kind of know like they got to stop because there's something in front of them. And no, they just went straight into it. They're like, no, we're going to ruin his truck too. So they just like go right into his windshield, destroy his windshield just to add a little insult to injury. And it was like there was like a homing device on that truck or something. So that was just like you talk about like the no good, very bad day. I mean, that was Gerald and Nova had a rough day there, but great event. I'm going back for sure. Yeah, but yeah. So those are some honorable mentions. Okay, entertainer of the year. I'm gonna drop this one on Andy. Go for it, man.
Entertainer of the year, we've got Danny Newland. That's not a huge surprise. The living legend, the voice of the Chuckwagon races. I mean, I haven't been going as long as nearly anybody else. Definitely not as long as you, David. But I mean, he's been the voice of the Chuckwagon race. Every time I've been there, and he's done a amazing, outstanding job.
I feel like, sorry, I don't mean to cut in on you, but I feel like he's not just the voice of Chuckwagon racing. He's like the voice of Western life in this area of the country.
Yeah,
because he's been doing. He's been the voice of rodeos. He's been the voice of Chuckwagon racing, and the voice of Clinton since after the first year. So
yeah, he's got a nice little feature in season 2 where we're going to kind of break open some of his history just a little bit more. I mean, I don't want to dwell on anything too long, but in any of these episodes, but like we talk to him, we interview him, and he kind of talks about how he got started and stuff, and it's cool because at some point in his career he was just like you or me or anybody else that had not been used to being on a microphone, that just kind of said, I'm going to pick the mic up and I'm just going to go. And here he is. He is a legend. And and all of the other announcers that I interviewed this year, they say the same thing. They only have good things to say. They talk about how he's influenced their own careers or their own style, and they just speak so highly of him. And I agree with you, Justin. He's just like this Western voice that is so distinct. And and I've told this story before, but like years ago, I was just like, this was several years ago. I think I was working at Exaga still, but I was watching some toy commercials for like Little Buster toys, and this commercial comes on, and I just straight up hear Danny Newland's voice narrating the commercial. And I sent him, like, it was like on YouTube or something, and I like sent it to him, and I was like, hey, that's your voice. I caught you doing one of these Little Buster commercials. And he was tickled by that. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, congratulations, well deserved. Danny Newland, you are the entertainer of the year. And a couple of honorable mentions that were in the nominations there. Dean Holman, another big time voice of the wagon races, a guy that travels to these association and other races, another distinct voice. Honestly, he's got that big, deep, booming voice that I always enjoy, and he's just like a really, really nice guy, and he does a good job. And then Todd Wheeler, I just want to throw this in here. You got a nomination, and I'm not sure if it's just because you're such a good host, which is probably what the nomination is, or if it's the way that you conduct yourself at the annual banquet when you're auctioning off like all these different kinds of liquor. You make a handle of Aristocrat vodka look like a fine vintage wine that I'm going to pay at least $300 for. So
absolutely.
So there's your honorable mention, Todd Wheeler. Okay, interview of the year. I'm going to take this one. This is near and dear for me because I'm probably conducting most of these interviews, but I'm throwing it straight out there. Jana Priscilla, not just one interview, but I will mention one in particular. She had a great and a vulnerable interview on more than one occasion this year, but specifically right after the national championships when she had lost in the buckboard runoff, and she was still kind of accepting that loss to Full House, losing by a nose. And she gave a great interview. She spoke from her heart. And that kind of interview just makes me like a bigger sports fan for her and her team. And it humbles me as a filmmaker and as a storyteller to just receive that kind of interview. And so I feel like that one's well deserved.
Maybe we'll get to take that bling home next year. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep it on. I have faith in them. Just everything has to fall in just right. So we're not quitting.
She was one of those people that throughout the year had to get more and more comfortable on camera, because I knew even before we announced it, I just felt like, we're going to focus on buckboard this year with the Great Wagon Race Season 2. And so I had been kind of honing in with those guys, and she really came along and really loosened up. And, so that just, to me, that kind of provokes another honorable mention with Brad House as well, because he's right there in that whole buckboard scene. And, he was helplessly going to be right in the middle of it. There was no getting out of it. You're the 3-time champion, or he's won it 4 times in the buckboard in the last 5 years, right. I think. Yeah. So yeah, and he's the president of the association. And so he was going to be on camera no matter what. And he was really uncomfortable with it. He does not want to be on camera, but I don't think that he comes off as terribly uncomfortable. I think that he comes off as, a humble guy and a kind guy and, a good guy. And I just thought he did a great job. He came right along, just as well as Jana. Both of them were vulnerable with me, and to all of the people that are vulnerable with me on camera, I appreciate that. It allows me to tell the story, and it shows that you trust me in some little way to let me interview you. So thank you. But congratulations to Jana Priscilla for getting the interview of the year, and we'll just keep building on that.
Okay, moment of the year. We've got Brandon Wren's opening ceremony at Baker Spain on Saturday before the races. Absolutely an amazing, heartwarming moment. I was on the drone, so I was kind of underneath and off to one side of the announcer stand when he was doing this, and I thought I was going to have trouble keeping the drone in the air, or at least on target for what we were doing. And he really spoke from the heart, really got emotional, and it really, as he said, at some point he was just a vessel. He was just a vessel for the words, and it was just coming to him, and it was absolutely outstanding. And I don't think there was a dry eye in the entire place. So yeah, very well deserved. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was patriotic too. Absolutely. It was. Yeah. To kind of describe that moment, which, we'll probably show some footage here along with this, but that moment, they've put in a waterfall there at Baker Spain in the past year, and they started over there with their opening ceremony with rider on horse with gigantic American flag, as big as you can put on a guy.
Yeah.
And walks it over on the horse, and it's this whole thing. They've got I wish I could tell you the name of that song off the top of my head that Josh Spain had specifically chosen for that moment. And he and Brandon had talked about basically one word, which was, we want to talk about like vision, having vision. I think that's what they said.
Yes.
And yeah, he just spoke off the cuff and he went with it. And even he was surprised at how emotional he got. And I know that because he talked to me afterwards, and he was like, I was crying. I was so impressed with myself. I was even crying. I didn't know I would, and it was just like, what did I say? I think I blacked out.
So today, the guys, I want you to look at this flag and think about the vision that you have in your life. If you've got a talent, use it. If you got a talent, use it to your advantage. But it's all because of that flag and God's vision for us. As we look at our children today and we look at our grandchildren, it's time for us to give them the vision, to carry on that vision on for life. So guys, just look at her. I want you to just look at her for a moment and let her bask in all of her glory.
That was a special moment, and it transcended that moment into the screens of people's phones and computers and everything and their devices everywhere, because that got shared through Baker Spain, through Facebook, through YouTube, through TikTok. And I mean, hundreds of thousands of views, like a lot of engagement with that video. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Brandon. You have the moment of the year, my friend. And then we have an honorable mention in the moment of the year, which I'm going to let Justin talk that one up.
Yeah.
Talk through that
So,
one.
basically, this is, you know, when we were in Camden and we had a horse that we all know and love. They got injured there. Tristan Head was out riding, and his wonderful one-eyed horse, Stormy. You know, what was a really great moment was when we all went to West Kentucky, and they did the final ride for Stormy, and just as a retirement gift, and it was really truly a beautiful gift for Tristan, you know, to be able to ride his horse one more time, and for her to know that her days of outriding is over, but she'll never be forgotten in this wonderful Chuckwagon racing community. And you know, Tristan was also gifted with a horse from Keith and Rhonda Westner. They gave him a 3-year-old mare, and he hopes to be out riding on it in the next year. If not next year, then the next. Like if not this year, then the next. But that's just an awesome gift and beautiful moments from this family that we call Chuckwagon Racing.
Yeah. And that, you know, for the record, we went back and forth pretty hard on the moment of the year. And so, honorable mention for the Stormy situation would be an understatement.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of moment really represents the community and the love around Chuckwagon racing, and those are the kinds of people and that you see, and that's not a first time thing. Like, we've seen this kind of thing happen before, and that's not to downplay it at all. That's just showing you the kind of people that are in this sport. And so you know, we wanted to make sure that we give as much recognition as we can to that kind of situation, because that is truly heartwarming. And so kudos to you guys that were all involved with that. You know, if we were handing a plaque out for that, it would be to several people, because there were a lot of people involved with that. And so thank you for making, you know, for contributing to what Chuckwagon racing, the sport, is. And you are the reason it's as good as it is, and the people are fantastic.
Not only thank you to Keith and Rhonda for their gift that they could give, but thank you to all the wonderful people that donated money to help with medical bills and things like that. Tristan really, you know, found help in that. I know that if he could thank each and every person, he would. I don't think he knows quite everybody that donated, but all of it was to a great cause, and we all love Stormy and we love Tristan, so we're very thankful.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go right into 2024's most improved. You know, there are a lot of people that you can look at and you can point at. You can look at teams, you can look at animals or individuals, and say, you know, like, they improved a lot. So this is kind of a tough one to choose, but for us, really, this one boiled down to the overwhelming amount of nominations that came directly in for this person. So congratulations, Jagger Pennington, on winning the most improved for 2024. You are one of those people. You are one of those people, not just a kid, but one of those people who goes out and wears their heart on their sleeve, and there's no mistaking your passion for the sport. There's no mistaking your passion for equestrian life, and it was really there was a whole arc in 2024, seeing Jagger at the cow cutter race, at the first race of the year. I think that's the first one I went to this year, and he was just moving around a little slower. He was maybe the tortoise, if you will, at that race. And then you fast forward to the last race of the year that he would have competed in, and he was flying across the track, just hanging on for dear life and having a ton of fun. And I know he has a lot of influence from his family with his brother JD and everything too. But yeah, you deserve it, Jagger. So congratulations on the most improved in 2024, and I hope you improve just as much in the next one, buddy. Okay, biggest laugh of the year. I think I'm going to take this one because this happened right in front of me, and it truly impacted me. I think because I saw it right in front of me and enjoyed it so much, this is really what won it. But if there was ever a rodeo clown turned into a Chuckwagon race clown, it would be nobody other than Blake Wiles. I just mentioned the cow cutter Chuckwagon races. Well, first race of the year, Blake I think he was trying to catch this team as they were like coming around to finish a race, and he basically narrowly escapes death. Pretty much happened to like outrun getting out of the way of this team. I mean, he put himself in the situation in the first place, but then he runs out of it and he proceeds to turn around and he kicks his shoe like 20 feet in the air off of his foot, probably because he was losing his shoe. And then he catches it with like this big smiling ta-da. And I think he looked right at the camera, and he's the real life Kung Fu Panda, and he is absolutely hilarious out there. I mean, stay out of trouble there, Blake. I mean, you put yourself in a lot of situations, and it's truly fun to watch. But man,
Their team
hilarious.
name says it all.
Yeah.
Too stupid to stop.
Too stupid to stop.
I'll say the impossible request of the day goes to David for asking Blake to stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let's see what you come up with in 2025. All right, for me, a close second place for the funniest, like the biggest laugh of the year. Jana, Priscilla, and Cindy Wheeler, they did this full-on interview after the races were over because they thought that they had won the buckboard. And so we did this interview of them like under the impression that they had won it. And it was laughing and joyful and emotional and great. And then we get to the awards ceremony and they did not win. And it was just like you could just tell that they were really embarrassed about it. And I've threatened to put that interview out there just for the fun of it, and maybe we will now. But
we had to come out today and get a faster time to outrun Brad House, and we got the job done. Going home with first place buckle. You're good. You're good. Keep on going. You can fix that, can't you?
No, I can't. You got to
I got to start all over again.
All right. The Youth Award goes to none other than Jagger Pennington. And again, it's the same way with the most improved. We went based off of the sheer number of nominations. But it was a no-brainer, and we saw it all year, really, just the building up. And not only that, but one of the things that I really like about Jagger Pennington is the fact that, it's not about all winning. He'll go out there and he'll help somebody else. And, that's the way that whole family is. And we love the Penningtons. And, congratulations, Jagger, on winning Youth Award of the Year.
Yeah, this year it just so happens that it kind of overlapped there with the most improved, and it probably won't be that way every year. But like Justin said, I mean the nominations came in, and it was that this one's really from the people. So you got a lot of people supporting you there, Jagger. Congratulations again on the Youth Award. Very excited to see what you do in 2025, my man.
All right, venue of the year. And it is the Bar OF Ranch, Clinton, Arkansas. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the national championship Chuckwagon race is the Mac Daddy of them all, pretty much, right? I mean, the sheer number of people is just absolutely overwhelming at that race. I mean, just the event as a whole.
I think one of the greatest things about Clinton, really, though, is the fact that they have so many things to do. You couldn't possibly go, even if you went for a whole week, you couldn't possibly go and do every single thing they have going on.
Right.
They've got something going on for everybody, and it's all at different, you could have 2 or 3 things going at the same time. So you couldn't possibly go to every one of them. But,
Yeah.
the magnitude of what they've got going on there, it's awesome.
We should certainly know with us trying to cover everything at the same time.
I was going to say, imagine trying to film it.
Yeah.
Well, we do. We try.
It's just like there's so much going on. It really has become this legendary event staple in people's year. It's well deserved. I mean, we talked about, we kind of weighed our options here, like, do you pick the obvious winner? And it's like, well, yeah, they are the biggest event. They are the reason that our sport is what it is. And so definitely in year one, I think that there's no other direction to go there other than well deserved. It's a lifetime of work for Dan and Peggy Oaf. It's a huge body of work that just gets a little bit better every year. Dapple, you're talking generations of their family being involved with this, and now Dapple's kids too. There's just so much to nod to that they're just doing so well, that they've done so well, and really sticking to their guns. With you go listen to the song "The Great Wagon Race." By Junior Thomas, I think. And
The Great Wagon Race.
You listen to that song, and that song was written in like 86 when the event started, and it still captures the heart and everything that the race is. And so, venue of the year, it's an obvious one to me. So, honorable mentions that we should hit on. For us, I think you kind of look at the next 2 events that are really, like, in my opinion, up and coming on and stand alone, like, so good in so many ways. Whiskey Ridge and Baker, Spain. Those 2 events are just gigantic. And, I could honorable mention every single one of these tracks, and it's been a pleasure going to all of them this year. And getting to get the story, to understand the people that put it on, to see the effort, to see the nuances, to see the differences in each event. And, even from the cow cutter race being a first-year race, as well as the rats race, and you see what it takes to start one up and the effort that goes into that. I mean, they may or may not ever work as hard as they did in that first year. They may not ever struggle as much as they did in that first year. But I thought both of those were great. I thought that those were good races that people said really good things about. So, I don't feel like there's a loser on venue of the year. I just think that, this is one of those that I look forward to this one every year, almost like, if not the biggest award, one of the biggest ones that we could give, because I think it just says a lot about what you're doing with the sport and what you're continually doing for the sport. And so, Borrow a Ranch. Love you guys. Congratulations. So those are the winners from all of our categories. All of these different categories are being awarded plaques, like I mentioned. And if I can't deliver those at the awards banquet, then you'll get them through the mail. So stay tuned. I'll be reaching out. Congratulations again. Please let us know in the comments below what you'd like to see changed or different about the CWC Awards. This year, the format had to be a little bit loose, I feel like, and I feel good about it. But maybe you didn't. So let us know. We want to make this as good as we can for our listeners, for our viewers. We definitely learned a lot from doing this first time, and I can promise you it'll be bigger and better next year. But for round 1, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited to give these awards to these people. I'm excited for them to hear about it. So let us know in the comments below, what you'd like to see different. And cannot remind you enough, when something like this comes up, get in there and nominate. And that was one thing, probably as much as anything, that I would have liked to see this year is just to see more people get in there and be nominated and have more honorable mentions. I'd like to hear of more things that maybe I didn't catch or I forgot or I missed. Because I know that there's a lot going on at these events that we don't see.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If you saw something different, that you thought maybe was more deserving, you have a say. So let us know that.
So before we get out of here, I want to do one more segment today. New Year's resolutions. Today is New Year's Day. And thank you guys thanks for taking some time out of your busy holiday to do the podcast today, by the way. I don't have anything to give you, just thank you. And we will, like usual, you're going to get paid the same amount. So thank you guys. But thanks for being here. And I do want to get more specifically than just a New Year's resolution. I kind of want to get like a word that can represent the goal that you have for yourself or for ourselves, however you want to do it, in 2025. And kind of how that could represent whatever that goal is. And if maybe we revisit this at another time in the year that we can kind of reflect a little bit. So Justin, you want to hit it first?
Sure. My word for the year is stability. And the reason why is because I want to work harder this year at being more stable with like my finances and things like that, as well as, being able to kind of stabilize food habits and working out and things like that. So just trying to be more healthy, and then also kind of have more of a stability when it comes to money and spending and things like that, paying off debts and getting debt free. I'd love to work out that. So
yeah, no, that's a good one. I love that word, actually.
Don't
love
steal
that
it.
word.
All right, Andy.
Wow, I didn't know we were going to be so deep on this. I my word was aimed a little more at just kind of, I guess, the Chuckwagon channel and my participation in that.
Well,
so
yeah,
not like
fine.
life as a whole. So I think my word for this one's going to be refine, because I had a hand and was involved in introducing a lot of new concepts and things to do with our production throughout this last year, and which is amazing. Thanks to David for giving me enough leeway there to just haul off and do some of this stuff. And so that's been an absolute blast to be able to experiment and do a lot of these different things, whether it be with our live video stuff or just some of our filming stuff in general. And I think there's, we've introduced all these concepts and they may be a little rough, but I think refining some of those to where, they're all more effective. And, I think there's some really cool possibilities when it comes to that, whether that be, our video switcher stuff, our live shows. When we did the live shows, the podcast live shows at the races, I think that's obviously, you as the viewer may or may not have seen some of the hiccups that we have. I don't know how noticeable that stuff was, but we definitely had some, but that's okay. Yeah. I think we can refine that technique or that process and make that
absolutely
a little better in the future. And
maybe get a little stability in there.
Maybe get a little stability in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I mean, reflecting on 2024, I love the idea of refining, and I mean, my gosh, man, you did so many things. I mean, from a tech standpoint, whenever I think about what we've been doing in the last 2 years here, and then I think about, okay, we just had, like, we're having our work nationally broadcast on the Cowboy Channel.
Yeah. I mean, what?
That's exciting, and that's a win. That's a win that we should be celebrating right now, and not just for us, but like for the sport.
Yeah.
And And so when I think about, like, when my imagination fires up and I'm like, man, what could that mean? Could that mean that someone talks to us and they want us to take it to the next level? Or, would someone ever try to like buy a piece of content, or would they want to buy the Chuckwagon channel or make an acquisition? What, like, anything could happen. These
Right.
things go through my head. And at the end of the day, I'm so comfortable knowing that, if we can just get more resources into the Chuckwagon channel. I love the team that we have. I love the chemistry. I love the product. I love the people that are involved with it. And I know that we have all that we need to go and just rock this thing. And that's because of people like you guys and other people that have jumped on board this year. And I should just say, like Savannah, Savannah's not on here. Savannah's been working behind the scenes a lot, and she's gone to some races and she shot, and, she helped us at the podcast a couple weeks ago, and Clinton, and, people like that just jump on board. And there's a lot of people that I could list, but I think when preparation meets opportunity, I think that we'll be ready. So I'm excited for that. And so my word for 2025 is scale. And that can kind of go a lot of ways, but, probably one of the biggest things in the forefront to me is to scale the sport. And so with that said, there's a lot of things that can happen, but I want to make sure that each individual track and event is growing so that the sport can grow exponentially. Because if everybody grows a little bit, I mean, if you think about adding 50 new race fans to 8 different events or 10 different events, that's a lot of people. That's over 500 more people that are now fans of the sport that could go and tell 500 more or 1,000 more or whatever. Like, it could grow exponentially if every event is growing.
Yeah.
And I think I saw that happening in 2024. And so this year I just want to double down. I want to find and tell the stories of people who make the sport great. I also want to I want to find those people who sacrifice a lot to do so. And I want to educate people about what wagon racing is. I think that those are important things that we have to keep in the front of our minds as we go about doing what we're doing. It's very easy to get into the weeds with how much we kind of just try to do or do on the side with Chuckwagon racing. I think it's important that we make sure that we have these like high level thoughts or this like bird's eye view of everything. And that's hard to do sometimes when you get really bogged down. Also on scale, just scaling the Chuckwagon channel. We're a small team. We've got to find our way into more channels, more avenues, more resources. And those are things I think are going to come. And like I said, when opportunity and preparation meet each other, that's when things are going to start happening. Sparks are going to fire up, and who knows? So on scaling the Chuckwagon channel, I wrote down that I wanted to continue to improve what the Chuckwagon channel is. I want to provide more content and better content for our followers and our subscribers so that we can keep them around. And then I want to grow our CWC, our Chuckwagon channel team, video editing and general operations for something like this are slower than what I would like. Like I said, we're getting races out still from 2024 right now. And that's just because that's where we're at. So I need to take more risks and rely on other people to help pick up more slack. And, that's going to, risk is maybe the word there. Risk might be as big of a word as scale for me this year. But yeah, scale. Yeah. So that's my word.
That's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for being on here again on New Year's Day. We wish everybody a very, very happy New Year's. We hope that 25 is the best year yet for everyone involved. I know it's going to be a big year for a lot of these events. I know that much for sure. Not to mention it's the 40th annual down there at Clinton. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. Next week, we are going to break into Chuckwagon Racing 101. So don't miss that. Don't forget to subscribe and relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. Don't forget the Cowboy Channel is showing the Great Wagon Race Season 1 this week. And tune in and watch that. Maybe give some feedback on your social medias. Have a wonderful weekend. And as always, thank you for supporting what we do. And we will see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC podcast.